All right, Zazzle designers, listen up. In this video today, we're going to be covering the top 3 questions that we get about collections. And this is an interesting one because collections are very important on Zazzle, especially if you want to cross-promote and sell more, because collections were created now almost a couple years ago, but originally they weren't actually available on Zazzle. And Elke and I actually created our own collections previously to collections being on the Zazzle marketplace, because we knew that once we created certain products, maybe we wanted to group those products together so that a customer could see more value and more products within a certain theme or, product type, etc. And so collections offer an amazing opportunity for you to connect with your customer more and showcase more of the products that maybe they can potentially buy all in bulk. Okay, so the top 3 questions we get about collections are very interesting because collections, although they have been around for a while, are still a little bit confusing for some people. And so in today's session here in this video, we're going to be talking about some answers that will give you a little bit more clarity about collections and what's going on with them. I'm
I'm so
here.
excited. Yeah, I'm so
I know. I was
excited.
going to just say, I'm going to introduce myself too. I'm Jen Clarke, and this is Elke Clarke, and we are a mother-daughter duo. We have transformed many people's lives all around the world because we are mentors and coaches and teach people how to make money online with Zazzle using print on demand. And we have collectively helped our clients sell over $165 million worth of Zazzle products. So we know what we're talking about, and we talk about collections a lot in our coaching program, because, as I said, some people find them very confusing. So you might be actually in the same boat where you're looking for some more clarity on what to do with your collections in your Zazzle store.
What I want to say is collections are cash. Like that's how I remember it, because yeah, Jen and I, like even before Zazzle had decided to do even the bare minimum of a collection that we used to have as a structure, Jen and I were doing collections in some sort of way because we knew how much you can market things and get what I like to have customer value. That's my number. So if I can get one customer to pay me $100 instead of $10, then I don't have to have 10 more customers paying me 10.
Right.
Right?
No,
And
very true.
so cross-selling, which is the fancy word for get them to buy more than one thing, is actually so important. And for the most part, people want those things, right? Like one of the reasons that we did all that beforehand, even before collections were out there, is customers just couldn't figure out how to find all the matching pieces
Yeah.
that they wanted to buy together anyway. So it wasn't even sleazy, it was just convenience, right? So
Yeah.
collections are so important, and I think a lot of people look at, like, when they start on Zazzle and they go like, oh, now I have to make a collection too, like, and then the other, oh, and we actually should maybe make it 4, but we'll give you a bonus one. Remind me afterwards to give you the bonus at the end of the video, so you have to watch till the end, don't fast forward through. And
Okay.
I'll say that last bonus question and give you the answer for that after we cover the first 3. Okay, so
Okay.
go ahead.
All right. So the first question that we get quite often is that, does each product need to be in a collection? And when you're creating your products on Zazzle, you have to, and if you haven't yet, go to our YouTube channel and watch the video that we put out. It's called The 5 Things That You Need to Do Right Now, because it's talking about intentional creation for products, and it's talking about niche and finding out your brand and all the things that you need to do before you even get to this point, which is making products and making collections. So if you haven't watched that yet, watch this video first, then go back and watch that one. But does
Yeah,
each product,
this is definitely for not beginners. This is for
yeah,
advanced. Yeah.
advanced people? So yes, do you want to answer it? So does each product need to be in a collection? Go for it.
Okay. Am I answering this first? Okay.
Yes.
The answer is no. That's it. No,
No.
no. No. Okay. So here's the thing, and it's related a little bit to the thing I'm going to tell you at the end of the video. But yeah, initially, it's very important that people don't overwhelm themselves by adding it to a collection right away. Okay. But if it starts to sell, then the natural question is like, okay, what else could I sell with this now that this is selling? That's when you put it into a collection, right? The other option is to say, hey, something that I've got is already selling, And this is the two pieces, right? You can either cross-sell with a suite, or you can say, well, I have like 10 different variations of this. And this is not just colorways. This is like something where you have like 10 different designs that are very unique, but they're all meeting the similar purpose, right? Like let's say a business card for makeup artists, but you have 10 different designs.
Yeah, I think that ties into actually the second question too.
Yeah, and so that then and maybe even one of them sells already, which is a really strategic thing, because if one sells, if you put that in a collection with others that haven't sold yet, more than likely some of the others will start to sell. So whoo, like that's a huge thing, right? So like let that sink in. If you already have like one item that's selling, but you want like, and you have a multiple other designs, not just variations of that one design, but different offerings that are equally as interesting to someone
Mm-hmm.
in who wants that particular thing, like a makeup artist business card, then you can put some other designs in that collection in order to give them a bit more variety,
Yeah.
right? And so that's a huge thing that's worked really well for us. So take that and go with it.
Yeah. And then coming back to, does each product need to be in a collection? So if you're seeing that, let's say, for example, going with Elke's example of the makeup card, business card, if for whatever reason you just decide, okay, I'm going to try and see if this works, and you make one product and it's one makeup card, one business card, and then you forget about it after a while, and then you're on to other things and whatnot. And maybe you haven't even created any other business cards or anything to do with that business card. If it starts selling, that's where Elka is kind of getting into the point of where you can put that into a collection and you can sort of cross sell. But if you, for whatever reason, don't have any other products in your store that make sense to go into that collection, or that there's really no need to put it into a collection, but it's still selling, you don't have to have a product in a collection for it to sell. It just needs to be posted for sale. And so you don't need to then all of a sudden like force yourself to make a collection. Let's say you have this product and it's really well, like it's really selling well for you, but you have no need to put it into a collection. You don't need to make a collection and just throw random products in that collection because it needs to be in a collection. Okay. That's where some people think that, oh my goodness, like each product, if it's just floating by itself and it's not in a collection, it won't be seen and it won't it won't sell. But no, I have products that aren't in collections and they sell well as well. And I have not strategically put them into a collection because it just doesn't make sense. But if it does make sense for you, then definitely put it into a collection. Then that comes to question number 2, is what type of collection do I need, right? And there are so many different options for you and permutations depending on what niche you're in, what type of themes and styles that you're creating. So we won't dive too deep into this because that's where our Profit by Design Academy coaching program comes in, because it's very individualized for each designer, what type of collection you need based on the products that you're creating and also the theme or style. Or if it's like Elke mentioned, a theme or style that's similar, let's call it that you have all these business cards, but it'll be more of a browser collection where you're just looking at 10 different styles of makeup business cards. That's another collection too. So unfortunately, we can't dive too deep into what your collection needs to be because it really is personalized based on what you're creating and also the theme and the style. Okay. But Zazzle does a really great job at outlining them when you create the collection. It says these sort of the different options for you, and it gives you examples on why you should choose each individual collection based on what you're making, right?
Yeah, but I'm like jumping the gun here, like I want to say something.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
so the other thing though is you like Jen and I, from even before Zazzle had collections, we always considered the end in mind, right? So we're helping the customer, and that's what collections are really all about. And so I and Jen developed buyer and browser collection types. So even though Zazzle now labels them something else, the if you remember buyer and browser, then you can understand the sales process that the current customer that you're trying to attract is in. They're either browsing or they're buying. And
Mhm,
we go into much more detail, obviously, in our coaching program. But if you just get that essence and go like browsing, buying. So that business card selection, they're browsing. They don't know yet. They need a business card because they're a makeup artist. They just need a business card. So you meet the customer at the browser level and
mhm,
you create a collection for them to browse.
mhm,
If you now gave them a ton of other options like stickers and signs for their
Pens.
door, that would just be like overwhelming and you're missing the point of browsing. Okay. But then if they're a buyer, then all of a sudden those other pieces make sense, right? But you're not going to give them a bunch of different, you know, like different designs, different this, different colorways. So again, understand what does a buyer need at that time if they've picked that one card, right? And I'll
Mhm.
leave it there because I'm not going to give you everything but you kind of get the idea now, right? And so
Yeah.
those are the two different types. You're going to target the buyer or the browser. That's
Yeah.
browser, buyer. Okay.
The third question is, how many products do I need in a collection? And this, once again, is tied to which type of collection you've created. So whether that be the browser or the buyer collection, which Elke actually coined those, and that's part of our training. We came up with those collection type styles before Zazzle came up with their names. When you go onto Zazzle now and you create a collection, it gives you the names of the collections that they've decided. So cross suite, sell, matching products, etc. But the products that you need in each collection obviously varies. There is a minimum. When you're creating a collection, it'll give you these little warning signs on the side and say, okay, you need this sort of step, this step, this step to complete the collection. And so depending on which collection you create, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. I think it's like 5 products minimum, 6 products minimum. And the Zazzle platform actually now prompts you to show you which types of products would actually fit within that collection. Obviously, it's very theme based. So, for example, if you're creating a baby shower suite and you're doing an event cross sell collection, it will tell you invitation, sticker, whatever, RSVP card. But it also very much depends on what your own personal theme is that you're designing, right? So, if your collection, for whatever reason, because you're creating this thing that includes stickers and address labels and party favors, like those things are the things that need to be in your collection because that's what's necessary to sell the whole thing together if you're doing a buyer collection. The browser collection is obviously different because if you're browsing, you want to have a good selection, right? Let's say those makeup business cards. I want to see maybe more than 10, but I don't want to see 500. So you have to have that good balance of where you have to understand the customer buying habits and how long are they going to take to scroll through to look at your collection, depending on what type of collection you've created.
So good, so good. But as you mentioned, Zazzle prompts you to put certain products in. So everyone feels really worried that if they don't put all those products in,
Right.
then they're not going to get seen. That's not the case, right? So think
No.
about what the buyer wants. And obviously, there's more strategy involved, which is cool because that's what we do in our strategy calls every month in the Profit by Design Academy. But in terms of just understanding quickly, what is it that the buyer wants right now, mixed together with the rest of the stuff, right?
Yeah.
So,
And that kind of brings me to a funny story. I was creating a collection and it was, I think, a wedding suite, but it was during the holiday times. And for some reason, Zazzle introduced, because it was like a cross sell suite, and you don't pick a collection based on the theme. So whether it's wedding or holiday, it's just the cross sell. So it's got this certain set of products within this, like the prompts that tell you which products that you should be making. And so in my wedding suite, it was interesting because they had a stocking and an ornament in there as one of the prompts, right? And so, as Elke just said, like some of our clients are very freaked out because they're like, I need to make a stocking for my wedding invitation suite. And then because it tells you that that's a product that you should put in your collection. And so, just as a word of caution, you don't have to do every single product that is recommended for the collection. Make sure, like Elke mentioned, think of the customer in mind. How would they like to have their buying experience and what actually makes sense within that collection to buy?
yeah.
Okay. And now
And
our bonus question. I don't know what the bonus question is. You came up with
oh,
it.
and it's the best because it's the one that we get the most, and it's the most that's the one thing that's going to mess you up the most if you don't get this straight. Collections are like, is it okay if I just put my products into a collection and not a store category? That's the question. And the answer is no. You have to put your products into a store category so that you can have your store organized. Having it in a collection is not what collections are for. Collections are not for you to organize your store. It's for customers to have an organized sales experience. Okay, so that's a big difference.
And
So
you know what? I had to wrap my head around that one really quickly because it doesn't make sense to me because I'm part of the old school that you have to put your product into a category because that's how your store was organized and that collections didn't exist. And so now that you say that question, I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. But I guess you could literally not put your product in a category. You just have it
yeah,
floating
it's
in your
just,
store like it's like new product category. And
yep,
then in your new product category, you literally have 1,000 products because that's where your new products go, and then putting it into a collection. And then that's the way you organize your store. And as Elke said, that's just a nightmare for people who are on the back end as Zazzle designers because you want to make sure you know where all your products are located, especially
yeah.
when it comes to your statistics and everything too.
It works for the first few or maybe the first 100, and then you realize I've just made a big mistake, right? Because then you have to put them all into categories to start organizing them. And yeah, collections are not for organizing your products for yourself as a designer. They're for helping sell and market. And so,
Good.
and it's actually the it's not the question people ask, it's what we find a lot with our coaching, like the before they come into our coaching program and then they realize, oh my gosh, I'm doing it all wrong. So we want to make sure that you really understand collections are not a substitute for categories.
Okay. All right. Well, those were the top 3 questions, actually 4 questions that we get asked about Zazzle collections. Thank you so much for watching this video. And I know that you found it very informative. Comment below and let us know your feedback and let us know what you have decided with collections, what your aha moments were. Make sure that you share this video with somebody that might be interested in learning more about collections and subscribe to our YouTube channel because we come out with videos very often, all the time, to give you tips and tricks on how to make money online with Zazzle. So thanks so much for
They're not
watching.
even tricks,
Tips
they're
and tips and advice. I know I say tips and tricks just because it rhymes or something. I don't know. It's like the enunciation, the double T's.
yeah,
Tips and advice on how to make money online with Zazzle. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
bye.